In 19th century Russia, long before the revolution of 1917, a different kind of rebellion was already taking shape. Not in the streets, but on canvas. The Peredvizhniki, also known as the Wanderers, rejected the aristocratic confines of the Russian Academy of Arts. They took their art on the road, bringing powerful images of Russian life to the people. This is the story of a movement that fused realism with revolution. The Peredvizhniki movement began in 1863, when 14 students walked out of the Imperial Academy of Arts in St. Petersburg. Their rebellion came just 2 years after the Emancipation Reform of 1861. Tsar Alexander II freed millions of serfs, triggering a wave of social and cultural questioning that resonated deeply with young artists. They believed that art should reflect real life, not idealized mythologies dictated by tradition. The Wanderers supported these reforms and sought to shine a light on the plight of the newly freed serfs and the inequalities that remained entrenched in society. They formed the Artel of Artists, a cooperative that soon evolved into the Peredvizhniki, meaning wanderers. Their aim was both artistic and political, to make art more accessible, to expose the harsh realities of serfdom, poverty, and injustice, and to promote social change. They condemned the decadence of aristocratic values and turned their focus to the lives of everyday people. Instead of exhibiting in elite galleries, the Peredvizhniki organized traveling exhibitions across Russia. These mobile shows reached cities and towns far from the cultural centers, making art accessible to everyone and stirring national consciousness. By breaking down the barriers between artists and the public, they fostered a shared visual language rooted in everyday life. Their art chronicled social and urban life, giving a face to common struggles and personal dignity. Their works often featured peasants, workers, and the Russian landscape, not as romantic symbols, but as real, sometimes painful truths. But they also turned to religious themes, interpreting biblical narratives through a realist lens that emphasized compassion, doubt, and human dignity. Their work frequently carried political messages, challenging established power structures and giving voice to the voiceless. The Peredvizhniki believed that art had a moral responsibility, and their canvases became visual protests against oppression and spiritual hypocrisy. Vasily Surikov's painting, Boyarina Morozova, captures the dramatic arrest of the noblewoman Feodosia Morozova, a staunch supporter of the Old Believers. The painting reflects the 17th century religious persecution in Russia, when the Old Believers resisted reforms to the Orthodox Church's rituals and faced brutal punishment for clinging to traditional practices. They Did Not Expect Him, by Ilya Repin, portrays the unexpected homecoming of a Russian revolutionary, returning from exile in Siberia, while subtly criticizing the political repression of the Tsarist regime. Christ in the Desert, by Ivan Kramskoi, shows Jesus sitting alone in the wilderness, deep in thought and sadness. In many ways, Christ reflects the struggle of the ordinary Russian person, quietly enduring the hardships of life. Ivan Kramskoi's Peasant with a Bridle depicts a powerful image of a rural laborer, with the bridle symbolizing both control and restraint. The painting honors the dignity of the Russian peasant, emphasizing their strength and resilience in the face of hardship. The Drowned Woman, by Vasily Surikov, captures a haunting scene of a woman's lifeless body, pulled from the water, evoking a deep sense of despair. The man, casually smoking next to her, represents indifference, highlighting society's apathy toward the suffering of the marginalized and the moral neglect of the lower classes. Vasily Surokov's A Meal in the Monastery is a critique of clerical indulgence, showing poor people begging on the floor, while well-fed Russian Orthodox priests drink and eat lavishly at a table. Ilya Repin's painting, Religious Procession in Kursk Province, portrays the inequality of Russian religious life. A gilded icon is paraded through a crowd, surrounded by richly dressed clergy and local elites, who are shielded by police, while peasants and the sick are pushed aside or trampled. Pugachev's Judgment, by Vasily Surikov, portrays the rebel Cossack leader Yemelian Pugachev holding court over captured officials during the reign of Catherine the Great. Pugachev led a major peasant uprising in the 1770s, rallying support with promises of land and liberty. Christ and the Woman Taken in Adultery, by Vasily Polnov, is a poignant depiction of mercy and moral conflict, blending the biblical narrative with Russian humanist sensitivity. The painting highlights Christ's compassionate response to the woman's plight, challenging societal judgment. Reading the Manifesto of 1861, by Grigory Myasoidov, portrays a group of peasants learning about the emancipation reform issued by Tsar Alexander II, which freed millions of serfs. The painting captures the mixture of hope and uncertainty as they receive this life-changing news, emphasizing the transformative, yet complex nature of social change in Russia. The Peredvizhniki movement laid the groundwork for Russian realism and sowed the seeds for future artistic and political revolutions. Their influence extended well into Soviet-era art, inspiring generations to view art not just as a pursuit of beauty, but as a powerful tool for social change and truth. By focusing on the struggles of ordinary people and challenging oppressive systems, the Wanderers reshaped the role of art in society. They brought art to the people, made the invisible visible, and ultimately transformed Russian culture, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to inspire today.